So yes, we're back again, and I actually think it's the last time this year. So the Autumn Nation series, I think, caps at round 3. There's 2 games next week, but I don't know if fantasy continues, so make sure that round 3 is a good one. So going straight into it then, and looking at the fixtures for this round, I think the first game is definitely one to target in Wales and Georgia. Obviously, they've got Josh Adams back, Reece Dammit still at 15, really good options all around the pitch. And they've even got Falatau on the bench. So I think this is going to be a pretty dominant Wales win. Next up, Italy-South Africa. Italy, I think, have put the same side out, who have actually got 2 wins so far this Autumn Nations. But I think their time is up. South Africa haven't been great, but I do feel like they can get the win against Italy. Scotland and Argentina will actually be quite a good game, I think. Being the last round, both teams might look to play a little bit more. Hopefully, obviously, weather dependent. But I think Scotland have something to prove, and also Argentina from that loss last week against Wales. Started brilliantly with a win against England, but then can they back it up? So I think probably the game of the weekend is England-New Zealand. So England have pretty much, I guess, maybe their strongest team out. They've got the likes of Genge, Sinclair obviously, Itoje back at second row. They've got Sam Simmonds on the back row, which actually I think is a pretty decent option. And obviously their back line, Manu Tuilagi, Farrell in the centres. So I think if England are going to beat them, then this team is likely to do it. However, just looking at the New Zealand team, I can't see past a New Zealand win, especially with England's not too great form, especially against Argentina 2 weeks ago. Ireland-Australia could also be a good game to target, because I do feel like Ireland, again, have a little bit to prove. I guess they did win last week, but it wasn't that comprehensive, so I think putting their first team out again this week against Australia, they could really do some damage. And then, of course, the final game of the weekend, France versus Japan. So at the time of recording, they actually haven't posted the teams for these two sides. However, I would just back 3 French players all day. You'll see now who I've picked, obviously provisionally, because I'm not sure who's actually starting, but you can get an idea of obviously who to pick. So of course, as ever, if you do like the videos, then hit that subscribe button. I know that fantasy for the Autumn Nations is up, but the Six Nations will be round the corner in no time. So if you like the video, give it a like and then drop a subscribe to the channel as well. So here we go then. For the final time this year, let's look at who I've picked in the front row. So I've gone James Slipper, Malvaka and Genge. So obviously Slipper is captain in Australia and they're up against Ireland. Not expecting an Australia win. However, I think as captain, and I think he's actually scored a few tries this year for Australia. So I just think he's probably bound to have a good game. I have picked Malvaka. I think on the basis that they're going to do a bit of rotation against Japan. They might pick Bogorit for La Rochelle, but look, at the moment this is, I guess, provisional. And then obviously Ellis Genge, I think I've stuck with him the past 3 weeks now. I think he's just a really good ball carrying option for England, as I say, every week, and obviously got the try last week. So in the second row, I've gone with Mostert and Byrne. So Mostert's actually starting 7 for South Africa against Italy. So obviously playing on the back row. He may move to second row later in the game, but for the moment, I think that's a pretty decent pick. And also picked up a try, I think it was week 1. And obviously Tadhg Beirne, he's actually got the most turnovers in the Autumn Nations so far. So he's a really good option, obviously, to get good points for Ireland against Australia. And then there's the back row. So you know that I absolutely love the back row. So again, I've picked Ardie Savea. Even though he's up against England, which is obviously a hard test, I just think he's just a world-class player, so why wouldn't you put him in? Then I've picked Van der Fleer for Ireland, got man of the match in week 1, so I don't think he needs any introduction there. Could have picked Caelan Doris playing 8, but I think I've gone for Van der Fleer just for that dynamism. And then I've picked Jasper Wiese. So he's actually starting 8 for South Africa. They've got Evan Roos on the bench, who is obviously another back row player, but I think Wiese would have a point to prove, and it's also against Italy, so I think he can outmuscle them. At halfbacks, I've actually stuck with Thomas Williams, starting for Wales again and against Georgia. They obviously probably will rotate, but I think having Williams there, especially with his try-scoring ability, is crucial. And then obviously at 10, I've actually took Smith out and put Bowden Barrett. So Barrett starting at 15, once again could rotate. However, if he gets the ball, then he's likely to rack up some meters. And also look for 50-22s, which also do get you points in this fantasy. Now, not going to lie, this is where I obviously started to struggle. So the centres and backfield players, there's just so much of them. So it's really hard to obviously just pick 2 for the centres. So I have gone with Dialende and Ringrose. Dialende could be a bit of an odd pick. Doesn't rack up too many points usually, but look, he is against Italy, right? Even though Italy have won their previous 2 games, I do think that South Africa can come away with the win. Saying that, Italy's backfield and centre pairing have been really good, so not sure how good Dialende is going to do, but I've put him in there because I think he can get them good gain line and go forward. And obviously Gary Ringrose absolutely smashed it last time out, coming off the bench for the injured Henshaw, and against Australia I think he'll just tear it up and carry and gain loads of meters as he usually does. Then my back 3, and yes, I have gone with 2 Welsh players. So Zammit is obviously at 15, going to rack up a load of meters and hopefully a load of tries. And Josh Adams, who I think is back from injury now. He'll obviously want to prove that he's the number 1 winger for Wales, and I think he probably is. He just seems to obviously get on the end of just every try, to be honest. So I think he can be a really good captain option, and that's why I guess I've captained him. I think a lot will look for Reece Zammit, but I think Adams is a slightly better pick in the terms that he can probably score more tries. And then finally, I have picked Raka for France. Look, I guess I don't know the starting team, but they're likely to rotate. So I am looking to pick a back 3 player for France. I just don't know which one it is yet. But with rotation, Raka might be likely to actually play, but we'll just have to see, and I'll have to alter when the teams come out. And finally, it's the bench. So once again, I've gone with a French player and Marchand of my super sub. So as I said previously, not sure if he's actually on the bench, but I am looking, I guess, to do both hookers for France. I think it will be a rotation, and France at home do want to be pretty dominant. Maybe I could look to pick a backfield player here who can obviously come on, but I think it's a bit more safe picking the hookers. And then to cap off and round up my team, I've gone with Tellier and Van der Merwe. So Tellier obviously against England. He had a stormer of a debut last weekend, and I guess that's the reason why he's got the start again against England. And obviously Van der Merwe against Argentina did actually really well last weekend and made some huge meters, so I'm looking forward to seeing him against Argentina again this week. So at the moment, that is my team for round 3. Let me know what you think of my team down in the comments, and also what you guys are looking to do. Once again, I reply to pretty much all the comments, so don't be afraid to just post a comment down below. As mentioned, I guess the France team sheets are yet to be out, so if it's a huge alteration and something I wasn't expecting, then I might post a video Saturday morning just to reconfirm my team to keep you guys in the loop. But if I don't speak to you before round 3. Good luck to everyone, and I'll definitely see you for a roundup next week.